Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Bob Pompeani here in the Fan Cave. Chris Mueller is there at 93.7 The Fan. We invite you to join us on the Bordas and Bordas hotline, which is 412-575-2600. Chris, before we get to the Pirates, this was Kyle Dubas' first day to make a pick in an NHL draft. And after they made a trade, which we'll get to in a second, they did keep that 14th overall pick, and they took Braden Yeager out of Moose Jaw, one of my favorite places. That and Guelph are high on my list in Canada. Anyway, he's going to come in Thunder Bay also, since the Stahl brothers are all from there.
What about Medicine Hat?
Medicine
Bob?
Hat's
no
another
Medicine
one.
Hat love on this show?
We just got to get the noon balloon to Saskatoon. So let's talk about this, kid who's 18 is not going to be a factor in the next coming years, but a lot of people felt the Penguins should have traded that pick and tried to work on this roster currently and try to win now, which they made a trade we'll get to as a second. But were you disappointed or glad they kept that pick?
A little bit disappointed, honestly, because I would have liked to have seen them try to wheel and deal and win now. I mean, I do think them making the pick is a sign that Kyle Dubas is here for the long haul and trying to rebuild this thing and do this whole idea of win in the present. But I wanted to see them be hyper-aggressive, live for the moment if you're the Penguins. This guy, like you said, isn't going to help them win playoff series while Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang are still here. I mean, that's unless he's unbelievably precocious and develops way faster than they think. I think they could have used this 14th pick to maybe swing a deal for a goalie who's better than what they had and who maybe isn't making a killing. We know Boston was apparently listening on Ullmark, their Vezina Trophy winner, who benefited from their structure. He's only making $5 million a year for the next two. I just think that making the pick is a sign that Kyle Dubas does have at least part of one foot in the future and not in the present.
Yeah, that's kind of what he's trying to do. I think it's a tight rope to walk. Let's talk about the acquisition of Riley Smith. Now, he was a big part of the Vegas Golden Knights' success, 26 goals, 56 points. They win a Stanley Cup. I believe he was one of the original Golden Knight players, and now he's on his way here. And he's a guy who could fit in the top six. He certainly could play on the second line. He also can play on the third line. $5 million a year for each of the next two. This sends two messages to me. Number one, Jason Zucker will not return. And number two, they're still going to try to figure out a way to dump that Granlund salary without actually buying him out, which I would imagine has to take place in some sort of a trade. The other question, as I just litter these things at you, don't mean but we're running out of time always, is Jake Guentzel. To me, after I watched Timo Meier get $8.8 million a year today, $70 million, I got to wonder what Jake Guentzel is worth. Now he has 1 year left on a deal. I think this decision here will be the key decision moving forward.
Guentzel does something that you can't put a price tag on, and that's just score goals. He's a pure goal scorer, so I don't think you can ever undersell that talent, right? That's the most valuable commodity in the league because every GM and every coach is still trying to scheme up ways to make it harder and harder to score, and I think Guentzel, therefore, has a premium ability. As far as Riley Smith, though, he was one of the original 6 Golden Knights, I think, still left, along with Marchessault and William Karlsson. He was the guy Mark Stone handed the cup to first. The Golden Knights radio play-by-play man pointed out to me and to Pony today on the show. So he's really respected by his teammates, super high character guy, but he can play, Bob. And I think we all loved the way Jason Zucker played last year, right? Hair on fire. There were many, many nights where he was their best player, even including Crosby, and he was their most motivated-looking guy. But he hasn't been healthy. If you could guarantee me I was going to get Jason Zucker healthy for the next 2 years at his cost and Riley Smith and the best of each one, I'd say it's Zucker. But he's not out there enough, and Riley Smith is a pretty good alternative. I'm with you. I think Zucker's gone, and I think they did a pretty good job patching the hole that his absence or eventual absence is going to create.
We'll talk more about the Penguins and moves that may still yet to be made. You heard Chris say about Linus Ullmark. That's an interesting one to me, just that rumor. But Boston has Jeremy Swayman. They like him. They also have another younger guy coming up, so they could be in a position to do that. But will it be here, or does that ship already sail? We'll talk about that and the Pirates with the win tonight, all coming up. We want your reaction at 412-575-2600. We are live right here on Pittsburgh CW and 93.7 The Fan.